Hey, I'm Nick Von Brack, and this is the Record Podcast. Back with another interview episode. Wow, 2 in a row. Looks like we're chugging along here again. But before I get into this week's guest, I've got a little more information on the fun event that I was hinting and kind of tiptoeing around last week. So it is official. The very first live Record Podcast is booked and locked in and ready to go, and you are all invited. It is Saturday, November 19th at Epic Deli in McHenry, Illinois. For those of you not familiar, it is in the northwest suburbs of Chicago, and it's an excellent little deli. It does all kinds of crazy sandwiches. Actually, if you go back into the past episodes of the podcast, find an interview with Tyler Wildey. He is the owner of Epic Deli, and he and I have collaborated on a sandwich before, and he's a good dude, and the place is awesome. So aside from just this event, you should go out and eat all of the food there. But for this event specifically, you should come and eat some delicious food and hang out and check out a podcast. So on next week's episode, I'm going to dive even deeper into this. I'm just going to kind of touch on some cool things with this event that I'm very excited about. So again, November 19th, Saturday at Epic Deli in McHenry, Illinois. The address is 2616 Shade Court, I believe, SCHAID Court, zip code 60050. And it's going to be at 7 p.m., $0. That's right, $0. We're charging no dollars at the door, and at the event, we're going to do some really cool stuff to raise money for the Oasis Teen Center. So it's definitely worth checking out, definitely worth coming to, and the guests for the evening will be the esteemed band Dr. Manhattan. And yes, that is the band that I am a member of. But I think how we're going to do it is just have the 3 other dudes on stage next to me chilling. So you'll get the whole band up there. And we'll just have a good chat about some tour stories and all kinds of good little random ditties along the way. And we're going to chat for a little while. We're even going to do some Q&A. So come with questions if you have them. If not, we'll just skip right past that. But we're also going to do silent auction. And they have all kinds of cool prizes from local sponsors at the event to raise money for the Oasis. So if you're interested in becoming a sponsor for the event, reach out to me, get in touch. You can hit me up on any of the Record Podcast social media sites, facebook.com/The Record Podcast, Twitter @The Record Podcast without the A, Instagram The Record Podcast, or you can just email me at the Record Podcast @gmail.com. Looking for more sponsors for this event, trying to raise all the money we can for this awesome teen venue and teen center, and that which is located in Grays Lake. So yeah, you can find more info on the event. I'm going to be keeping it updated at therecordpodcast.com. And also, if you look on Facebook, there's an event titled The Record Podcast Live at Epic Deli, and you can get all the info there too. But like I said, next week I'm going to dive into this even more, chat about sponsors, get into some cool stuff that's happening at the event. But November 19th, Saturday, November 19th, come hang out. It's free. Just come and hang out and have yourself a good time in honor of a good little fundraiser, which is makes your heart warm. Plus, it's at Epic Deli, so you can eat some great food too. So stay tuned for that next week. And something I haven't talked about in a while is the PayPal link. So there is a PayPal link for supporting the podcast. It is paypal.me/Nick Von Brack. And you can just chuck a few bucks that way. I'm going to use it to update gear, to pay for expenses with the website, and to be able to buy a fat Rolls Royce with all of the money you're donating, which is thousands and thousands of dollars. And by that, I mean a few people have been kind enough to donate money, so thank you for doing that. But yeah, so let's get into this week's guest. He is PJ Heckinger, who is a longtime friend of mine. He was a member of the bands The Moment and Head Honcho. The Moment was one of the first bands that Dr. Manhattan toured with, and it was a fun, interesting tour. We get into some good stuff about that. So we talked about that, his music history, living in the Northwest versus the Midwest, touring, playing shows together, lineup changes in a band, dealing with that, shady characters in the music industry, and more. So this one may be one that you guys might not be as familiar with. He's a good dude with a lot of good stories, especially with me, and he's my Uncle PJ. So come hang out with me and Uncle PJ.
I've been a few years.
It has been a minute. It has
Yeah.
been the hottest of minutes. How are you?
Oh, doing well.
Yeah?
Yeah, just enjoying life, living out here, Pacific Northwest. So,
Yeah, when did that all happen?
it's just about 5.5 years ago now. So,
Okay.
yeah.
And
So I had a chance to move out for work, and
okay.
well, not for like I wasn't doing something there, and I transferred out here. I just was offered a job working for my uncle out here for his company,
Okay.
working on boats. So
Sweet.
did that, and then last year I left his company and started working for a union outfit, and
Okay.
yeah, I love it.
Nice,
So
man.
I mean, for what a job can be, I love it. So
Good. That's good to hear.
yeah,
And
yeah,
how do you like living out there? I mean, it's got to be the best.
yeah. It's pretty great. I miss shoveling snow for some reason.
No, you don't.
So no, just like just the quiet,
Yeah.
uh, and like just how the sound of your feet walking on fresh snow and stuff like that.
You're gonna get me all sentimental about what's about to happen and ruin my life in the next couple months.
Oh, are you moving?
No, no, just the fact that we're gonna get pummeled with snow, and then
Oh,
so then I'm
oh,
gonna be out here shoveling and bitching
yeah,
about it, and then I'll think of you saying, "Oh, the sound of the foot tracks on the snow," and I'll be like, "All right, this isn't so bad."
yeah, yeah. It's not. I mean, it's just when it's the thing that I don't miss is when your jeans got cold and then
Sure.
you like went and sat down. It's like, oh, geez, like there's that little air insulation in between, like you still trapped a little bit of heat on
Yeah,
the inside. So
yeah, but
yeah,
you'll get some snow out there, right?
not where I am. Like Seattle does not really get snow. Like around Seattle
Okay.
does. So and then like I live on this on a hill. Like, have you ever
Oh,
you've been out here, right?
yeah, yeah, and I actually have family in Auburn, Washington.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm working right by Auburn right
nice.
now. But yeah, like Seattle doesn't get too much snow, but there are some hills out here, and I live on top of a hill. So
Okay.
sometimes it hasn't happened since I moved up here, but uh, like the top of the hill will get like 2 inches of snow, and then you go down the street 2 blocks, and you'll go down the hill 2 blocks, and it'll be no snow.
Uh,
Like it just, yeah, it's weird. It's just you're at that different elevation. So,
okay, fair enough. Well, I'm
so
jealous, man. Anytime I've been to Seattle, it's not been too many times, but I've loved it every time. Love it out there.
yeah. Well, didn't you guys play out here
Yeah,
a couple times?
yeah. We I'm trying to remember in the band where we would have played. I know the side project I did, Princess Dinosaur. We've only played one show, and it was in Seattle because
Oh, wow.
Nick is from there. So Jen, my wife, and I flew out there and hung out for a couple days, saw family, hung out with him, and we played that show. And I forget where it was at. Oh, it was at El Corazon.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was in. I got the poster over here. It's in September 10th, 2010.
Oh,
And
wow.
yeah, it was Forgive Durden was playing there. They played through the album Wonderland, and we opened, and it's the only show we've ever played. But
Wow.
it was sweet. I'm trying to remember if Doctor Manhattan where we would have played out there. I'm not sure, but we recorded Jam Dreams in Seattle with Casey Bates, so I've trucked through there a few times. I can't. I'm drawing a blank on Doctor Manhattan playing there where we would have played.
Yeah, I remember. Well, when the moment was, we were gonna try to make our way out here
Yeah.
from Rockford, and it just didn't happen. But I remember talking to you about places, and I remember you just warning me like, get chains for your
Oh, so
tires.
that was right after recording then. That was right after Jam Dreams.
Yeah.
Because
Okay.
that's when we went out there, and then so we drove from Illinois, and up until I think up until Washington we didn't have to use snow chains or there were snow tracks or tire chains or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was talking to my cousin or my aunt, and they were like, "You need to stop and get it because it's bad out here. Like the highways are super bad." So we did, and then it was like we'd put them on, and then like 5 minutes later it'd be fine. So we want to take them off so we can go faster, and then in 5 minutes later after that it'd be bad again. So it was like this whole back and forth. And one of the times we pulled over, just behind us, an accident happened. A car. It was like I don't know why. I'll never forget. It was a carpet business van, like a carpet delivery or something. And
Yeah.
it was, 2 lanes going this way and then a median and then 2 lanes going the opposite way. And this van was like flying. Like we were sitting on the side of the road changing the snow chains, and I was just looking ahead. I was like, this van's going way faster than any other car on that side. And it just, I don't know if it like they weren't paying attention or they just slammed on the brakes, but he came across the median, and then where we were parked, within like 100 feet, maybe 50 feet, it came behind the van and trailer and like cut across and like hit some car, and they went off the side of the road and like into this fence. Like these two young girls were like got hit. So we like ran over there and like were trying to help, like gave them a blanket or something. But we were just like, holy shit. Like if we would have stopped 30 seconds before this, we would like everything would have been demolished.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
so I must have talked to you right after that, and I was like, that's why I was probably like, yeah, get snow chains.
Yeah. Well, that's when like, cause, at the time, like, it was only Elliot and I in the band at the time, the drummer and I, cause, the 2 guitarists had like quit.
Right.
And, so we were traveling in my Pontiac Vibe with a trailer on the back of it. And it's just like, we were doing okay with it. Like if we had to sleep in there, it got kind of a little uncomfortable. But nothing about touring is comfortable.
That's true. That's kind of the whole thing. We had a few van sleeps where like somebody could lay on the floor, somebody could lay on the back bench, and then 2 people would have to sleep, or at least one person would have to sleep in the front seat, just reclined. And you never got like good sleep that way, but you still like your body just got so tired you just pass out. But
you can never find the sweet spot with it. Yeah, like we eventually got a van because a drunk driver hit our trailer.
Oh shit!
And just demolished the trailer, but it was empty. So luckily it was empty. Yeah. So we got that, and then the money that we got from the insurance for the trailer, we got like enough we got like $900, and we bought a van for $850.
Nice.
So, and then the van, we had that, and it was an old plumbing van, and so like the other band that had it before us like bolted some seats down, and Elliot, the drummer again, built like these benches that went in between, because I was like, oh sweet, we can each have a bed.
Yeah.
He built it so your pillow's that thick, so he built it, and I saw it, and it was like, did this, and then the center did that. I said, what's that? And he said, well, so you can put your pillow there. It's like, oh my God, my pillow goes with my head. But he's just one of those guys. Like I owe so much to Elliot. He's with me through thick and thin, and it's just like, oh God, like you're wonderful. I can't get mad at you, but I really hate you right now.
That's that brotherly love, man.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's just, like I will do anything for you, but really would love to strangle you right now.
So what, I was trying to think, so we just were talking like 5 minutes before this and just happened to get this going, but I was trying to think in the last 5 minutes of like our first interaction, or how we even, I don't even know if I remember it. Do you remember like the first kind of either us playing together or like how far back? I definitely have a memory of us doing that show where us and you guys shared the stage and went back and forth on songs, which I think is still one of the funnest, coolest ways to do a show.
That was at Keith. Keith Country Day School, and that show was great. Like people were like so into it and stuff like that. And I remember, but you guys just always brought the party. With Matt like doing his like. He's got this like wild and crazy guy dance like that he does with his legs kicking out. Like just you guys were always so excitable and stuff like that. And it was great. But when I first remembered meeting you guys, because the Felix Culpa kind of brought you into our world, and we were playing at Chubby Rain in Copper Grove. And you guys just jumped up and played like one song. I think it was a Halloween show that we did.
Yeah, I definitely remember that show.
And but I remember meeting you because that was a really busy show.
Yeah, yeah. There's a
Uh,
lot of people there.
yeah, and but I remember meeting you. I think her name was Kristen or something. Had a party above
Oh, Kristen Shaw.
Kristen Shaw.
Yeah,
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 she had a party at her place above like the tattoo shop
yeah, yeah.
that's down on Charles Street, and so she had that, and then I remembered, and because I remember the first thing that I said to you, I was just
Wow, this is good.
like what like why do you wear? Because you always wore
Oh, yeah. I wear the headphones.
hearing protection, but not just like the little squishy
Right.
hearing protection. You wore like you were shooting a shotgun hearing protection.
Yeah, they were the Vic Firth ones that you. At first, I think they were the. I don't know if I always had the ones where you could plug in and listen to music, but yeah, for a while, for like the first couple years of the band, I'd always wear them.
Yeah, and it was just one of those. I mean, because each of you guys kind of had a thing about it. It was unintentional, I
Right.
know, but
Yeah.
like Andrew. I mean, he didn't do anything out of the ordinary. Like he had his sideways
Yeah.
playing, but he had the floor tom,
Yep.
which always was just like, whoa, that is great because because keyboard players like they're not always busy,
Right. Right.
and so it's just like, wow, he's just keeping it going,
Yeah.
and there's nothing wrong with it. You guys were really like, you never shied away from the floor tom either,
Right.
but then Matt had like his whole kind of his like sexy dance that he did, and like his white shoes that he would wear all the time. So and then uh, yeah, I mean, and then it was just Adam is who I'm thinking of,
Yeah.
not Matt.
Yeah.
Yeah, Adam had the wild and crazy guy dance, and then you had your headphones.
Yep.
But I mean, it was just like a character from each one was a little bit of a character. So and that was another thing. Nobody could tell you guys were just at the right age where you hadn't aged at all. Like you know,
Yeah.
you just still had like a little bit younger.
Yeah. We
You
were all little
don't get
babies.
facial hair in, and you don't get
Yeah.
like you know the jaded marks that people get from being like from fighting for
From life.
that wonderful slot.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Exactly.
but yeah. So and then after that, then it was just like we were just on shows together, and
Yeah.
then you guys were like gracious enough to let us play the Metro with you, and that was
Yeah.
always just like a huge dream for all of us. It was just like, wow, you know, like that's where U2 played their first American show.
Wow. I see. I didn't know
So,
that.
I mean, that's where the Foo Fighters played a show dressed as Cheap Trick. So,
See,
I
that's
mean,
good info.
that's where I saw so many bands for the first time. I mean,
Yeah.
like just like legendary Chicago bands to
Right.
just that I saw Korn there.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it was actually the show was Lords of Brooklyn, which was like an 8-man rap group,
Okay.
and they all wore like they all dressed like how Rocky dresses, like with like that kind of cabbie hat,
Yep. Yeah.
and he's got that like it's like a half trench coat, leather coat
Sure.
type of thing. I'm painting a terrible picture,
No, no,
right?
I'm in. I'm in it.
But that's how they dressed.
Where the gangsters go when they die.
They don't go to heaven where the angels fly.
Where the gangsters go when they die.
They don't go to heaven where the angels fly.
Where the gangsters go when they die.
They don't go to heaven where the angels
So they were just all about like spraying their beer all over the place, and then Sugar Ray opened.
Wow.
They were main support for Korn, and this is when Sugar Ray was a hardcore band.
Wow. See, I didn't know
Mark
any of this.
Graff was just like drunk and falling all over himself, and yeah, it was pretty bad. But they still played pretty good. The band did really well, but then Korn came out, and this was before they kind of broke, so there was maybe like 200 people there.
Okay.
So, which isn't that much for, I mean, I don't know how much you guys drew at that Metro show that we
Oh
played
shit,
with
I don't
you,
even remember.
but it was busy. So, but
I'm trying. Do you remember any? Because we played Metro, I think 2 or 3 times. Do you remember who else was on that bill? I'm trying to remember which. If you remembered any of the other bands, I can remember which like one that was.
the Felix Scope,
Okay, so I think that was the first one.
Inspector Al, and
Yep.
I think what it was it My Life in Cinema? My
Oh, this is cinema. Yeah.
This is
So
cinema.
so that was the first one. That was the first time because we that was at a time. I don't know if the Metro does it anymore, but that was at a time where like
Yeah,
they would.
Sundays were local.
Yeah, Sundays they'd let you they let a local band play, and we for our I don't remember if it was for any real reason a CD release or anything, but it was just like we were talking to somebody at the Metro, and I asked, I think just like offhandedly was like, hey, would it be cool if we like picked the lineup? And they're like, sure, man, whatever. And so every time we played, we picked like, all right, what's our dream lineup? Who are our favorite bands right now? And we just
Oh, right.
stacked the lineup. So that one was like perfectly all the bands that we were playing with a lot that we loved, and that was like, all right, well, like a lot of our career, it was like, what would we love? And so we're
Yeah.
like, I would love to come to this concert, so of course I want to play this concert. The only thing that felt a little weird, and I'm gonna have Tristan or Marky, maybe both. I'm gonna try to have all those guys on at some point, but I am a little curious. I kind of got the feeling like Coppola's like, we should be headlining the show. And in all fairness, they probably should have, maybe, because I think they were still bigger than us, or like drew just as much as us or whatever. But I think initially there were talks of them headlining, and then I don't know if it switched or what the decision was, but I just kind of got the vibe of like, and not, it might be just projecting, but I just remember feeling like, shit, are they kind of mad, or is this like a weird thing? Or are they still
I
cool with
remember
this?
no, I remember hearing something like that too.
Yeah.
Like, and yeah, it was something like that, because but no way, because I mean, just what you guys did that night, like just the energy that you guys brought that night was just like, I just remember watching from the crowd, and just like there was a girl on stage that was just going nuts, and like just the whole crowd was like so into it. And I mean, yeah, it was, and that was, I mean, that's when you guys were getting like
Yeah, that was when it was
a
happening.
lot of label interest and stuff like that. I remember there was something with like Interscope too.
No,
and
that night we went out with the guy from Immortal Records, the label head, who was like Scary Kids Scaring Kids. I think it was, I don't remember when we went out, but at some point that night, I think after we played or something, we went out to what's that vegetarian or vegan place nearby?
oh, was it like Wayward or something like that?
I don't remember, but it's and I'm gonna figure it out like at some point. That's not right now, but they do like super good, like I remember having like a peanut butter chocolate milkshake or something, and like we were having like pancakes and all kinds of shit. But that was like one of those. It was like one of the best times right then, because it was like we had this great show, all these bands we love, like we are like super just high on adrenaline, and now we're talking to this guy from a label, and so it was like one of those nights where you're just like, holy shit, it's happening. And but I seriously still think that one of the best parts of being in that band was those Metro shows, being able to be like, all right, we're gonna pick this lineup, and it's gonna be our absolute like the best time. I don't care if anyone's even here. Like it'll be us four, and we'll just fucking love it. And you guys were awesome. I remember every band like brought it that night. Like sounded great in that venue, which I still think is like the best sound. It was really like awesome.
Yeah, that was the funniest thing was because that was the start of the tour that we did together.
Yeah,
and it was because I just was with you guys because that show we had a replacement drummer because our drummer, his girlfriend at the time, his wife now, went to school in France, to study abroad. So he went to go visit her. It had been months, and he and I were still trying to like hit it hard and stuff like that. And he went there, and so like we had a friend of mine, Chris Johnson, like fill in.
Did he drum for another band?
He drummed for Amazing Transparent.
Yes, Yeah,
So
so I have a distinct memory of being at that show because 2 bands before Dr. Manhattan, my very first pop punk band with my my best friends, when ATM would come and play, they were like a huge deal playing at our little village hall. And I
yeah,
remember when you guys were playing, I was like, "That's the fucking guy from ATM, isn't it?" Like he looks exactly like because he's an interesting looking guy. I was like, "That's got to be him." It looks
yeah,
just
he's
like him.
very unique looking.
Yeah.
So,
So
yeah,
it was just so funny for me.
so
Oh,
he's
nice.
doing pretty well. He doesn't play drums anymore. I think that was actually one of the last shows that he played on
Oh, really?
drums. I mean, he didn't have like some blowout like I'm never playing drums
Yeah.
again, but he, apartment living and,
Sure.
there's a limited pool to pick from in
That's true.
Rockford. So, and yeah, but he's doing well. He
Good.
does his thing, practices Brazilian jiu-jitsu and
Shit. Okay.
just like everybody else nowadays. So, like, yeah. I'm always afraid to talk shit to anybody anymore because, like,
Everyone's CrossFit and shit, just ready to
yeah,
throw a
everyone does
tire at
CrossFit.
you.
They can like break your arm without even thinking. So, yeah,
Well, I'll just say that one of I just remember a big thing for us, like playing with you guys and watching you guys play. It was you were one of the bands that like interweaved not just playing, but like having electronic stuff and having like backing tracks, and it worked so well. Like there were bands that we'd see and play and do it, but you guys always did it in a different way, and we always enjoyed watching and playing with you guys because it was like how would we do that? Like it seemed like out of our grasp. It's like, oh, that's how we do that. Like you guys are doing it the way we'd want to do that. So you
yeah.
guys are always fun to watch and play with. And I don't remember. I remember Chubby Rain. I remember playing those shows. I remember playing that show. I don't remember the first time, if that was the first time we saw you guys, but I just remember after that it was like, yeah, like we should tour with those guys. And then I don't even remember how. Do you remember how long our tour was? Was it a couple weeks or something?
We did like 10 days.
10 days.
I think
Okay.
we did. Yeah, and I mean that it was varying attendances, but yeah, like
Much like our career. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. So, but yeah, I remember like it was because we went from playing the Metro to
Which is
close
so hard to start off a tour that way. We started off, I think, 2 tours that way. What was what was the other one? We started off, the Kiss Kiss tour. So maybe that. I'm trying to think. So that was probably Kiss Kiss was probably the second time we played the Metro, and that was another thing of, we'll start at the Metro, and it was like packed and crazy and fun, and then the next show is like 3 people. I was like, oh, we're back to earth now.
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly what happened. And we played like Madison the next night.
Yeah.
And it was just like
Oh, I do remember that. It had like a tiny stage, really bright
there's a
lights.
stripper pole. Yeah, yeah.
I
then the
remember.
next
There's a
night we
picture that someone took that's in my mind of like us setting up or you're setting up, and like, or you were playing. And I think someone moved the camera, and you looked. It was like it took a bunch of you, or it like kind of spread you across the picture, and you looked like God or something. It was like some red picture of you just looking like a god on stage. I remember it. That's in my memory.
I don't know. I've never seen that picture, so I don't know if I'd want to. So, but yeah. I mean, that tour it was cool, and it was because I didn't know you guys really. I mean, we knew each other cordially, but
Right.
like never like spent too much time with
Right.
each other. And I remember you were like, because I fell asleep in the back one time, and you're like, yeah, like pretty much looked at your ass crack. Like my pants were like coming down. Like it's like, yeah, that was a nice 3-hour drive of looking at your ass crack in the rearview mirror. So, oh, sorry, like.
Yeah, because we
it was
rode
just-
together. I forgot. Yeah.
Yeah,
Because
just
it was just you. It was you and an amp and an iPod, right? You and an amp, guitar, and an iPod.
yeah, because normally, I mean, when I first joined the band was around for 2 years before I joined it.
Okay.
And I mean, they wrote like the programming was what the song was first.
Okay.
So they used MC303s first, like a Roland, like you have to like, it's all these buttons,
Okay.
not user friendly at all.
Yeah.
They would use that, and then they would write their guitar parts and drum parts and things.
Oh.
I mean, obviously, like programming is 1, 2, 3, 4,
Right,
2,
right.
3, so I mean, the drums pretty much you can get creative. Elliot is very inventive, but
Yeah.
you know, like they would write it with the programming and then write the song around the programming.
Wow.
So, and
That's
then once I got into the band, they figured how they could dump everything into like Reason, which is like,
I remember Reason.
so that's Elliot got really into using Reason, and Elliot's always been into programming. So they did that, and then they would just dump it into iTunes afterwards, just for ease of so you could just press the space bar and then press the space bar again, stop and go. But yeah, I mean, those guys were always just very technically savvy. With that stuff, I just like, all right, let me just run around, and I just want to do this, and so yeah, for me it was just like, okay, just give me this, give me the songs, and actually Jeffro, the engineer, he was nice enough to give me the recordings with the drum tracks added to them from our record. So it was actually just me playing the guitar and singing, and I mean, but I just wanted to play. That's what I wanted to do for a job.
Yeah,
so.
it's like the Andrew WK way, where he goes up and just goes on stage by himself or with a piano only and just fucking does it.
Yeah. He married Scott Heisel. Well,
that's right. Yeah,
Scott Heisel and his wife. Yeah.
At first, that sentence I was like, okay, I'm in. Oh wait, yeah, I know what you mean. Yep, got it.
He married him. So yeah, I heard Scott's episode on that was a really fun episode.
Oh, thanks, man.
I knew Scott was into Weezer.
Yeah.
I didn't know he was into Weezer.
Yeah.
He and I have always been, pretty friendly with each other, but we've lost touch over the years.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I knew he was into Weezer, but I didn't know he was that.
He's diehard, man.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have him on again at some point and just really get into it even more. Like, cause I love Weezer too, but yeah, he puts me to shame with his knowledge and all the
how
stuff
he just rattled off like, well, I can tell you my favorite Weezer albums first, and just goes just wow, okay. So
yeah, professional Weezer fan he is.
Yeah, there's no turning around from that. So, but
well, and it's funny that I'm talking to you today because right before we were about to start, I was thinking about our tour, and I remembered somebody else was on our tour, someone named Nabil.
Yeah,
Nabil Sheikh. And at the time, it was filled with fun memories, and then now recently have been having some bad memories related to him. And we've been, I actually, on the last episode, did a little kind of rant on him because I was just like, fuck, man. Like, people, like, it's so funny, especially in situations. So, for reference, to know what I'm even talking about, if you didn't hear that, it basically, this is a guy, and I forgot, up until 3 minutes ago, I forgot he was on that tour with us. I remember he came on a little like weekend jaunt with us and the Butcher the Vet, but I totally forgot he went on our tour together.
Butcher the Vet.
Yeah.
Nice. And
so I think he did merch for us and was just kind of like helping tour manager or whatever for the Moment and us. And if I were to even think about it, I can't think of an instance that he did this on the tour. I don't know that he pocketed money. He might have, but he's just, that's what his legacy is now, is like any of the bands he's gone out with, lots of them he's fucked over, like pocketed money, like lied about shit, like bailed on them. Like Felix Culpa famously has like 100 stories with him. And so now Tristan posted something recently and I shared it, and I saw all these people just jumping and be like, yeah, fuck him. And I was just like, how did all these people like individually just got screwed over by him and just never like, why do we not do this before? Like, he's out there doing this to other bands. We could have saved some agony over this shit.
Yeah, I always heard stories, and I heard something that it happened with the Color Morale when they used to be the Killer Apathy.
Sure.
And I had heard something, that he had stolen some money, or there was some merch money missing, and I heard that before we went on that tour.
Yeah.
Like I went on the tour with Dr. Manhattan, and yeah, I remember that, and I just remembered saying to Nate, the guitar player
Yeah.
of the Moment, just like, yeah, Nabil's coming, and like just I don't know how I feel about that, but
Yeah.
you guys were buddies with him, and I was fine with him,
Yeah.
but I just remember saying like I'm going to keep an eye on him.
Yeah.
So maybe that was it, because I remember when we were playing at Harry Mary's in Des Moines, Iowa.
Yeah. Okay.
We stayed at that guy's house who was like a youth leader and had that book
Yeah.
about, like, converting homosexuals.
Yep.
Like, yeah, but yeah, and he had like a Lexus or a BMW,
Yeah,
and
you guys went to get milk and like just took it for a ride, or like some collection of that
it was
tour.
Matt and Andrew, I
Okay.
think, did it.
Maybe Nabil too, though.
Maybe, yeah. So, but but yeah, I remember like he was like in the back room, like the green room that we had, and we were getting ready to leave, and I walked out and I saw him like sifting through things
Yeah.
that weren't ours. They weren't your bands, they weren't our bands.
Yeah.
And I just was like, "Hey, what are you doing?" And he's, "I want to take something," and was just very blunt about it. And I said, "Come on," So
Yeah.
we left because we had to meet the guy
Yeah.
to go crash on his couch.
Yeah.
So it was just a very odd thing. I don't think anything happened.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that we didn't sell any merch, so he couldn't steal any money from us. We might have sold a CD or two,
Right.
but mostly, when there's one guy running it, like I just
Right.
kept it all in my pockets.
Yeah.
But it was also one of those things. I don't know if you guys ever did, but we never kept like ledgers of like,
Yeah.
hey, well, we spent this much on gas, we did this, we
Right.
did that. We didn't start doing that until we turned into a two-piece.
Right.
And yeah, so
It's just
whatever.
It's just a bummer because like already bands at that level have so much working against them. It's like now you're gonna come in and like take what little they have. It's like going up to someone living on the street and being like, "Oh, you like those cans? I'm taking those." Like, come on, like this is all we have. What's in this van? This is everything we have, and you're gonna try to fuck with that? Like,
Yeah.
and I'm not saying I condone it. I guess I understand it more when bands are bigger because there's more to take from them. Like, I can understand shiesty or shit going on, and you just
Yeah, like they're not gonna miss that.
Right.
Or something.
So I just assume like bands at that level, and because the music community is like we're all in this together, seemingly, it's like why would anyone do that to each other? And it just blows my mind that. And I remember at the time too, and Twan, another dude, like he was kind of I heard recently he's not that way anymore. So I don't want to necessarily throw him under the bus, but those two were thick as thieves, and just bad stories surrounded those two. Like with they'd print merch and fuck over people on like not getting to them on time or money or whatever. Or if it was just Nabil would do merch for bands and money would go missing, and it was just like I remember hanging out with the Culpa or friends like after shows and everyone having a story about him and just being like, why do we all have a story about him, and yet like why do people continue to be friends with him? And people would always just be like, just, I don't know. Like, everyone's just too lethargic to, like, do anything. It's just like, I don't know. Like, he'll snap out of it. He's funny. It's just like, holy shit. Like, people will put up with a lot of bullshit just for no good reason, really.
Well, I mean, a friend of mine once said, in the Midwest, humor is like currency. Like,
It's true, man.
If you're funny, because there are a lot of things that can get you down.
Yeah.
Aforementioned snow and cold weather, and like that just warms you up when if somebody
That's
can
true,
warm
man.
your heart and be there at the right times. I mean, it's like an abusive relationship. It's like,
that's true.
well,
man.
like
We had some good
two
times.
really good weeks, and then we
Yeah.
had one like tragically bad week where we can feel the hate radiating off of our backs at night while we sleep, and just like like it's just one of those things. But it's I mean, I don't know. I mean, how many people have you given way too many chances to?
That's true.
It's just for me, he never did anything to me, but
Right.
I've heard enough to know that to stay away.
Yeah.
Uh,
And to be fair, I don't know that he really after I left the band, I know when Jam Dreams came out, they did shirts with Nabil and Tawan, and there was a lot of shittiness with that. With like, they didn't come in time. When they came, they looked like shit. It was like there's a lot of issues there. But when I was in the band, I don't have any specific instances of something happening. So who knows? But it's just a bummer to think like, yeah, like I said, you just have so little as it is. Like then you got somebody coming in and fucking with that. It's just. It's a bummer that there are people like that in the world that exist. But let's not give any more time to that. Let's go to.
He's out in L.A. anyways
Yeah.
with all the other people that live in L.A. So
I don't think I know like the origin story of the Moment. So you said you came in 2 years into it. Like what was your kind of story into playing music and then getting into the Moment?
my story of playing music, I mean, I had been in bands in high school, things like that. Got to do all sorts of neat little local shows, and
Sure.
just wanted to keep doing stuff. And I always wanted to play shows, and I didn't know, how to do that or anything like that. So I just started, booking shows myself, or
Yeah.
setting up shows, doing things like, hey, I know these guys are in a band, and that's in a band, and blah blah blah. So let's get that going. So I kind of got myself a little reputation like that of, well, I can set things up and I'm in a band too. So, obviously I would set myself up with shows
Sure.
and stuff like
That's
that.
how you do it, man.
Yeah. So, I mean, you just go for it.
Yeah.
So the guys in the Moment are from a town that's a little bit north of where I used to live in Rockford. They're
Okay.
from Rockton, Roscoe area.
Yeah, I remember.
So
Rockton.
Elliot, the drummer of the Moment, had his uncle had a bait shop that was on the river. So it was like a shed
Yeah.
that was cleared out, and it used to be you could pull up there with a boat and get some bait and then go back to fishing.
Yeah.
So they cleared it out. So then he started having shows there, and I mean, he had like some big bands. I can't, of course I'm drawing a blank right
Yeah.
now. I mean, some bands that we would know about today.
Yeah.
So,
Did it have a name?
the bait shop.
The Bait Shop. Nice.
Yeah. So it was, that's what it was called. Originally, it was just called the bait shop because it's the bait shop on
Yeah.
the river. So, and then they just called it the bait shop. And then, he had shows forever like that. And that's where I met him. And then, there was, I don't know if you remember that band, God's Reflex. They were kind of big in the suburbs in Chicago.
Okay.
But they were a Roscoe Rockton band. They're on Johann's Face Records,
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
which is like Alkaline Trio's first record label.
Right.
So, and the Smoking Popes were on there, things like that. So the singer of God's Reflex was in the Moment. He played bass and sang. And then Nate Kirschman was the guitar player, and then Elliot played drums. And Nate started doing some programming, as well as Zach and Elliot. They were all into kind of like those making beats and things like that. And they
Yeah.
just decided, it was basically, Elliot calls it a drunken agreement between friends. Just, hey, let's just see how this goes.
Yeah.
So they started doing that, and they released an EP, 5-song EP on Arms Reach Records, which is a friend of theirs record label, Mike Gibson. And he released it, and they played some shows and did some stuff, and I wasn't in a band at the time. I mean, I met all those guys while I was playing in a 3-piece pop punk band called Carly's Day Out.
I remember
And,
hearing about that band.
We talk about nothing for hours. Used to be such
Yeah, and I mean, we played hundreds of shows, and like, just that band, it was getting to a point where either we were going to do it all the way, or
Yeah.
try to play a ton of shows and like tour and things like that, or I was going to try to settle down and buy a house and
Sure.
work this job. And I chose working the job, and in hindsight, it's always 2020. I should have
Sure.
probably stayed in the band, because the two other guys that were in the band just graduated high school. We probably could have made a good run for it, but
Yeah.
it just didn't work out. So a few years later, I met up with Nate, who was one of the guys in the Moment, and said, "Hey, if you ever need a second guitar player, I'd totally be into trying to see if I could do it."
Yeah.
So he was just kind of like, "Oh, that would be really cool, like, let me talk to the other guys." I came to a practice and, learned some of the songs. And then after about a month or two of practicing with them, they asked me if I wanted to be in the band. And then we started kind of ramping up and playing quite a few shows. And Zach, the bass player singer, was he didn't like to spend time away from home. So
Yeah.
we actually did a 9-day tour where every day of the tour he found some reason like that we should go back to, to Rockford, Roscoe, Rockton area.
Yeah.
So like, he needed to feed his cat, he needed to work the next day, things like that. And we were only playing like, Wisconsin,
Yeah.
Iowa. We weren't playing more than 2 hours away. So,
Yeah.
and he did a really good job at booking a tour so strategically like that. I mean, it was pretty crazy. So he did that, and then the next year we had kept playing, and I just met up with Nate for dinner and said, "Hey, I think we could probably do this. Like, try to make it run, go for it, and like play a lot of shows. I think we should quit our jobs and tour full time,
Yeah.
do the band full time." And he agreed, and Elliot and Zach agreed, and we were getting ready to leave for a national tour to start and do this national tour. Like, and 2 weeks before, 3 weeks before, we got this pretty long email from Zach, the singer, saying that he just couldn't do it. He was the only member that was married.
Yeah.
He had a career that he didn't really want to leave, and he was planning a family and things like that. I mean,
Yeah.
he's straight up honest with us, and there was no hard feelings. I mean, it just kind of happened that
Yeah.
way. So we had to kind of scramble. We didn't know what to do. We didn't have any low end in our programming, because the Moment, as you know it, had 2 guitar players,
Right.
a singer, and a drummer. So the low end was always programmed in. So for a few months and for that tour, I was playing bass
Okay.
and singing. So I switched over to singing and kind of had to learn all the lyrics and somewhat of the bass parts and things like that pretty quickly. The tour went as good as a tour goes, I guess. We didn't know what to do.
Right.
So,
No.
we were babes. So, so we didn't get to do the whole national tour thing. We made it out to California, and it was just show after show just kept falling through.
Yeah.
And so we actually, we were just like, well, we need to think of this as a business. So if we're going to try to do this for a job,
Right.
we need to, so we drove back straight from San Luis Obispo, California,
Yeah. The slow.
to, yeah, so we drove back from there, and then a couple months later, we got a guitarist who was an old guitarist from the band The Braves, and he was also in God's Reflex, named Phil Goodrow. and Phil just Phil fit in the spot so well, and was just, you know, he had charisma and just was very active while we played and stuff like that, jumped around and things like that, and just, you know, what you want. We wanted to be a show.
Yeah.
We wanted to just be like, we wanted to be a live band. You know, like the recording always is, you know, important, but you know, that's what somebody's going to buy. But we wanted people to come and see us and enjoy what we were doing. So we did that, and then we toured and toured and toured, and we did some tours where it was just Elliot and myself, even though Nate and Phil were still in the band.
Yeah.
They were school teachers, so
That's
they couldn't because after a while, Nate and Phil, Nate wanted to go back to teaching full time. Phil was kind of back and forth subbing and things like that. And so they made it. So Elliot and I went and did some tours, and then Nate and Phil came on the stuff that they could, and then we went in to start recording kind of demos for our second album, and we were all, you know, kind of drinking a lot and we're kind of a little fed up with each other at the same time too. And I, you know, said something that upset Nate, and you know, he quit the band in the studio.
Damn.
So, and I mean, it was, you know, I'm sure a culmination of many things, but I think it was pretty much me in the end of it.
Yeah.
So that, you know, I probably said something that, you know, disagreed with him. So then a few weeks later, we played at in Elgin with Dr. Manhattan. It was an old theater. It used to be a one-theater movie theater.
A one-theater
Elgin,
movie theater?
Right by the water.
Oh, Clearwater Theater?
Yes.
Yeah.
Side note, I saw What About Bob in that theater.
Wow.
So,
I was going to say, how did you know that it used to be a movie there? Well, that's how you'd know.
But a childhood friend that I had known since I was 5 years old, his family moved up to Sleepy Hollow.
Okay,
So I would spend winters and summer vacations like up there hanging out with them and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, and we just went and saw What About Bob there.
Awesome.
So, yeah. So, and I actually bought my first guitar from a pawn shop across the street from there.
Yeah.
So, but sorry about that.
No, don't be.
An off ramp, but Phil came and played that show, and it went pretty terribly. You know, we got through it, and kind of after that, Phil, you know, just said, "Hey, you know, like, I just don't think I'm into this anymore."
Yeah.
So Elliot and I kind of had a talk and decided, well, we have all these songs. You know, we have our second album written.
Right.
Phil had been doing most of the guitar work for it. Nate had a lot of stuff, but Nate was getting really like to be kind of a pedal smith. So he was like using quite a few pedals at the time. So, and none of us were doing that at the time. So Phil agreed to stay with the band to finish recording the album.
Yeah.
So he played 80 to 90% of the guitars on that album. I did the other stuff, you know, filled in and did things like that. During that time, I learned all the new songs on guitar and brushed myself up on the old stuff. Yeah. And that's when I switched over to playing guitar full time. And that's when we got a little spacier and started kind of, you know, smoking a little weed from time to time. So, you know, just get the groove and stuff like that. And it was still fun. And we did that for, 3 to 4 years, you know, playing and trying to stay on the road, trying to be as relevant as we could.
Yeah.
And then I got the opportunity to move out here and, you know, kind of, the band never broke up when I left. So I came back and we did play a couple shows. We played one that was called like a reunion show.
Was that kind of recently?
That was 2 years ago, and then or excuse me, 3 years ago, and then 2 years ago we played at Rockford Art Deli.
Yeah, I do remember seeing something about
Here
that.
and Brittany Lindgren, like they run the Rockford Art Deli, and we did that for their 1 year birthday party
Nice.
and got together, and that was really fun. But we were supposed to be playing outside, but the bands were running late that were outside, and we were going to be last. So the cops said like there's no noise
Oh,
after 10 o'clock. So it was a big scramble, and all of us got kind of stressed out by it. So it wasn't really a good final
right.
thing to do because it was just like, oh man, we had to move really fast and like just do all this stuff. You want to be relaxed when you're doing
Right,
it.
yeah. Was that
So,
show just you and Elliot, or was it all four of you?
no, it was all four of
Oh,
us.
that's awesome.
Yeah, so yeah, we did 3 years ago. We did all four of us, and then 2 years for the Rockford Art Deli, we did the four of us again, and that show went great. There was nothing wrong with it. It was
Yeah.
just everything was happening, and
Right.
and poor Jared had to just be like, okay, wait, and just he thinks so quick on his feet, but
Yeah.
and luckily we were able to pull everything off because they have shows inside of their store.
Yeah.
So, and then just a few months ago in April, we played our farewell show.
Yeah.
Like there's a bar called Kryptonite that used to be in Rockford,
Yeah. Do you remember something about that?
and we played there a bunch, and they always treated us really nice. And uh, they were closing in July, and I was going to come back to visit family and say hi to friends in April. So one of the promoters there had gotten a hold of me, Jared, and they call him Fat Jared, but yeah, he's just a big dude.
Yeah.
So, but he got a hold of me, and we booked the show. But I sent a text message out to the guys in the band, Nate, Elliot, Phil. Everybody got back to me, and Phil said, "Okay, but this will be it.
Yeah.
Like this will be the last time because kind of kicking a dead horse."
Yeah.
So, because we're not writing anything new.
Right.
So,
Right.
so I told the guys at Kryptonite, hey, this will be it, for us, this will be our last show, So we did that show. It was great. It was so much fun. I mean, the turnout was ridiculous
Yeah,
for it.
nice.
I think people kind of thought it was the last show any of us were ever going to play ever. It was like a farewell show. I felt like I had a terminal illness or something. Like,
They were being pushed off on an iceberg into the ocean after this show.
yeah, like some Viking funeral or something. I'd be pushed down the Rock River and flaming arrows shot at me or something. But yeah, I mean, I'd still love to, go back and put together like, a cover set or something like that,
Yeah.
or just do something fun with friends. And
Yeah.
it might not be the last time. We might all get together and like, hey, you guys want to do a Weezer set?
Yeah.
You can get Scott Heisel in here, and he can,
There you go.
so or something
Yeah.
fun like that. So I always wanted to do like a Tom Petty Foo Fighters set,
Nice.
and just something fun. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, so that's that. And I mean, out here, I play with a band called Head Honcho.
When I look at the smile, I don't mind if I take a while. I don't know why, but it just feels like I'm falling. This kid's going deeper. Just so they said
It's way more like Southern California Fat Records type of punk rock.
Oh, okay. I
Like
can get into that.
Yeah, and I'm so lucky to be playing with these guys. Like, just they're really talented guys, and like just good senses of humor. We're all in the same age group,
Yeah.
I turned 40 this year. So
Hey, happy birthday.
yeah, thank you. So, but now it's this is the first band I've ever been in where I'm the baby.
Oh, nice.
I mean, not that there's
Yeah.
not like a 60-year-old, but yeah, like it goes like I think there's 5 of us, and I think the ages are 40, 41, 42,
Oh,
43.
okay.
So yeah, so it's not, and like there, but yeah, we kind of, the guys are really into propaganda and
Hell
lag,
yeah.
strung out, I
That's
mean,
all you had to
everything.
say to me, man.
Yeah, so I mean, everything that I've been into for a long time, and I do a little singing, a little yelling. It's kind of what I'm known for, I
Sure.
guess. I sound like a jerk saying it like that, but
What do you
yeah,
mean? It
just
is what you know for it. Your voice is awesome, man. Don't
yeah,
shy away from it.
but it's just one of I guess I'm just saying I'm not that known, so
Hey,
like that.
neither am I. I'm on. We're all doing what we got to do. But
So yeah, fair enough. So, but yeah, but that band's going great. We get to play with Guttermouth next month.
that's
So,
fucking awesome. Man. I just saw they put out a new song. So whatever
oh,
they're doing,
Guttermouth did?
yeah, just like today or yesterday.
Oh, nice. Yeah, Strung Out just put out a new song yesterday too.
See, they're all
So
coming
yeah,
back. Those bands are gonna start taking you guys out, man.
yeah. Oh, I wish. Well, I'm going Strung Out. I'm Unwritten Law, Strung Out, and Pennywise are playing down the street tomorrow. So
Nice.
I'm going. I mean, I love Strung Out.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, I
There you
got.
go.
Where is it? There.
Yeah, I see it.
Strung Out, Adam, and
Yeah.
it's my less than Jake match. So
Strung
yeah.
Out. There was a thing with like in that first band I was in. I remember my buddy Matt and Jim. They both loved Strung Out, loved it, and Propaganda too. But those bands just like shredding, like SoCal bands, like at that time.
Yeah.
But no, those Strung Out. Like I don't know why I never really got into Strung Out a lot because I love Propaganda, and it's like it's not like if you like one you like the other, but the guitar work is like that same kind of like vibe, and I feel like I need to revisit Strung Out because it feels like this a kind of band that I would like.
Cause you carry me through another night to get back down, and I'm going crazy. I'll be starving at your feast tonight, taking all my kids from the city light where we are, just barely holding on. Now we sleep underneath the freeway bridge.
Yeah, and I mean, even their new records, I had kind of just lost touch with them for a couple of years, and they just put out a new record last year, and I mean, once I got that, and it was just like, wow, I should have. I felt like I missed out on something by like missing out on it, Yeah. So, but yeah, I remember I forget what his name was from Direct Hit that you had.
Oh, Nick Woods.
Nick, yeah.
Yeah.
They actually just came through with Paris the other week. So
Nice.
yeah, they were great too. So
Oh, you saw that show? Cool.
yeah, I saw that. Yeah, because I mean, Direct Hit's great.
Yeah.
And yeah, and I mean, Paris are great too. So and it's just I remember hearing your interview with him and just how he said like the first time he had heard Strung Out, and I think it was Suburban Teenage Wasteland Blues, where it's just like, I didn't know music could be played like that,
Right,
like so
yeah.
fast. And I mean, it's just, it's like a commercial for the X Games going on like all the time,
yeah.
just so fast. And I remember, I got one of their, like I saw them on a comp, Strung Out, and I was like, wow, I've heard about these guys. And just the first time I heard them kick in, like to the song DeVille, it was just like, whoa, geez, it was just, I mean, it was all over. It was just, great. And like, it was cool to hear him talk about that and just like, wow, somebody else had that same experience. It's just, it's a neat little glue that binds us all.
Yeah.
So just that music, the way it gets to you.
Yeah.
So,
On that, like I said, that like genre, that like late '90s Fat Records, like all that shit. I like as soon as I heard like No Effects and Propaganda, I was like, give me all of it. Like I want to consume all of this.
yeah. And No Effects is touring with Paris coming up soon,
Nice.
so get a chance, go out and see them too. Yeah, I think November or something. Because we caught the last date of the Direct Hit Pairs tour.
Oh, okay.
I think that was the last day of that tour, and then they were making their way out. So
Oh, okay. Nice.
yeah, and actually the Direct Hit, their drummer they had a fill-in drummer, and
Oh, really?
Yeah, and he's the drummer for All American Rejects.
What?
Yeah, I don't know his name, but
That's
yeah,
crazy.
I mean, but yeah, because years ago, another band I was in played with All American Rejects Motion City Soundtrack,
Jesus.
and I just remember seeing him, and he just kind of has a unique look.
Yeah.
And I said to somebody, to a buddy of mine, I said, "That looks like the drummer from All American Rejects." And it's like, that is the drummer from All American
Wow.
Rejects. And because he had just recorded him the day before.
Oh, okay.
Some friends of mine in Portland do a video cast of it's
Yeah.
called Bridge City Sessions.
Okay. Oh, I've seen that. I've seen episodes of that.
Yeah, so and Pears is going to be on it soon. Direct Hit actually recorded some stuff too. So
Maybe that's what I saw then.
yeah. Oh, okay. So yeah, and Such Gold was just there the other day, and yeah, they're getting some
Nice.
pretty good bands. So pretty like they're doing really well for themselves. So yeah, check out Bridge City Sessions.
Cool.
I'm just pitching commercials at the end of this.
Just plug everyone. I was gonna
Yeah.
ask you to plug yourself, but you can just plug other random things too.
Yeah. Well, Head Honcho is the name of
Yeah.
the band, and it's headhoncho.bandcamp.com.
Sure.
And Head Honcho 71 for some reason at Instagram.
Okay.
And then on Facebook and all that stuff too. And
Nice.
I'm just PJ Heckinger at Instagram, but
Nice.
it's just pictures of Seattle if you want to see those.
That's enough reason to follow you.
Yeah, I don't have any food pictures or
Perfect.
animal pictures or pictures of me. So yeah. So
Good, man.
yeah. Then you're playing a little bit too?
No,
Okay.
man. No, I had in this room I had drum set up before, and then we had the baby, and her room shares the wall with this room, and it just ended up I was just staring at the kid all the time, and I was like, I don't want to see this just sit and me not play it enough, and so I actually sold the kit, got to a friend's drummer of a friend's band, and I think at some point the idea, because that was the acrylic kit, and it's just so loud and like heavy,
Yeah.
and like that's like a drum kit you should be out in the world playing. It's like a a cool looking kit. So I think the idea is at some point in the next year or two to just get like a nice small wood kit, something even from like Guitar Center or something, and just start
Yeah.
playing again. But yeah, just mostly just doing the podcast, man. Not doing
Well,
much playing.
Dr. Manhattan's doing a show soon too at Epic Deli, right?
Well, so we're maybe I mislabeled the flyer. So a lot of people are asking. I'm just going to interview us. Like I'm going to interview the three of them. It says live music because there is our friend Grandma. Her name is Kayla, but it's like her nickname. She's playing acoustic before it. So I
Yeah.
think maybe the notion of like live at Epic Deli, this band, and it also says live music. But I tried to put like live at Epic Deli on an episode of the Record Podcast. So I don't know. Maybe it's still misworded or mislabeled. But if it gets
Maybe
more people,
interview with members of yeah.
if it
like,
gets more people there, maybe it'll just have to keep the lie going.
Yeah. So
Um,
yeah. Should do call-ins or something like that, so we can call and mess with the.
Oh man, if I could figure out how to do that, I'm so amateur with all this. I would love to do that. I'm gonna do. I don't know if this is the first time I'm doing it, so it's all so hit or miss. Like I'm saying there's a Q&A, but if no one asks questions, then there's no Q&A. Like it's totally like up for however many people come and if people come and
Maybe you could plant some people in the audience. give a few.
you, woman who is not my wife. Question from you.
Yeah.
But even if there is no questions, it's fine. Like I mean, what's funny is that when I started writing one of the posts for it, I think on the Dr. Manhattan page, I was just like, I was just thinking of all the shows we played. Like all we would do is just not all we would do, but I'd say like if you would have asked us the idea of the show, we loved No Effects, so we would have talked as much as we would have played. So I was like, this is almost kind of the perfect venue for this band. Just we don't have to play at all. We can just talk and just like fucking goof on each other. All right, let's just do that. And so I mean, I'm hoping it's going to be a good time. And I love those guys, and they all live in the city, and I live in the burbs, so it'll be a good reason to hang out and catch up. And
Yeah, I see all them on Instagram. I think.
Yeah.
Is it Adam? The esophagus?
That's Matt. That's his problem.
Matt.
Yeah.
That's Matt. Okay. Oh yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's been so many years,
That's
but
fine.
yeah.
They wouldn't be
I mean,
offended.
Adam's the one that I connected with a little
Yep.
bit more, but Matt, yeah. So, but yeah, Matt, I've checked out his stuff, and I like. Yeah, he's such an artiste.
He's
So,
great, man.
Yeah.
Similar to the guys in the Moment. Like him and Adam. Like when they started, they were just on MTV Music Generator, just like creating these sequences, and like he was always been into making beats and doing that stuff. So like as soon as he said he was doing stuff like that, I was like, all right, so this is gonna be awesome. And then sure enough, anything I've heard is super good. So
Yeah, I've checked out his stuff, and it's like, well, that's cool. Like, I mean, I've just let it play, and it's like nice to just have
yeah,
on. So
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm excited for it, but I'm at some point I want to do ones where like it's not just a whole band where it's like random dudes. And I mean, if you ever find your way out here and we can line it up, I'd love to do something with you, man. We go back a long ways, and you're our Uncle PJ, so you gotta keep this lovely connection going.
I'm not sure if you can, but you can. You used to be able to YouTube Uncle PJ, and
And Nabil and Aunt Nabil.
yeah, but it was a video of us after we played in Carbondale or something like that.
Yeah.
And we were singing
Oh, Hinder.
Lips of an Angel, while we were cleaning up from,
Yep.
like rolling our
Yep.
sleep bags up from the night.
Yep.
So,
It's
yeah.
still out. It's still on there, and there's a video of you and unfortunately Nabil, but you have us at the Mall of America, and you guys are on escalators going opposite directions, and I think you just high five and just keep going or something.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, I love doing that at the Mall of America. Yeah. Yeah, it's always one of those things. Yeah, I actually wanted to start an Instagram page that, in the city you bump into people a lot.
Yeah.
So when you kind of do that thing when you dance with them,
Yeah.
I don't have the nerve to do this, but I would like to, like, stop that person and then Instagram a conversation with them for like, no, we bumped into each other for a reason.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
reason this happens. So,
That'd be super interesting. It'd be kind of like Humans in New York or something. Like, let me get your story. Like, what's going on?
oh, is that something that happens?
Well,
already?
Humans in New York is just like it's an Instagram account and a Facebook page where like I don't know if it's just they walk up to random people, but it's basically like a picture of the person and then like their story. And
Oh, wow.
but it's really the pictures are really nice, and then the story is like sometimes it's sad, sometimes it's funny, and there's spoof things of it. There's one called Lizards of New York where it takes all the pictures that Humans in New York does and just like does goofy things to like comments and stuff. But like, but yours would be cool because it'd be on the spot, like you said, like video, just being like, "What's going on in your life? Why did we just meet?" Like that'd be. I mean, I'd watch that. I'd love to see stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. I'll keep you updated.
Please do.
I'll plug that maybe. So
Yeah. Look out for the future for an Instagram account that is going to be interviewing strangers.
yeah. Why'd we bump into each other? So that'll be gobbled up right away.
I mean,
So,
I'll promote it. I'll do
thank
whatever
you.
I can for it. Well, awesome, man. I'm glad this worked out. Like most of the ones I've been doing lately, when I have a free time to do it, I'm just like randomly hitting up people that I have thought of already wanting to do this. So I'm glad this happened sooner rather than later, man. I love that you're still doing music, that you're out in Seattle, and you're just keeping it going, man.
Yeah. So yeah, wheels in the sky keep on turning. So, terrible. Yeah, I even stumbled saying
It's a perfect way to end. Perfect way to end it. Well, I hope everything goes well with Head Honcho and the job and everything, man. Your life out there, and I can't wait to play some of that and just promote what you're doing, and just hope you keep doing good shit, man. I've always been a fan of yours, so I'm glad you're still doing it.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. So yeah, cool, man. Well, yeah, I will talk to you soon.
Yeah.
Congratulations on the baby and
thank you, man.
wife, everything like that too. So it's
Thank you.
great.
Appreciate it. Take care of yourself.
Have a podcast too.
Oh,
So,
thank you, man. Thank you.
Yeah, I enjoy listening to it
Awesome.
week out. So
Thank you, man.
yeah, even the short ones, I like those too.
I always wonder. I'm like, do people even listen to these? Like, it's this whole thing is such a me figuring it out kind of thing. But like the fact that you said that, I know you're listening, then that's awesome.
As a avid podcast listener, continuity is what I appreciate.
Yeah.
So if it comes out every week, then I listen to it
Okay.
every week. So that's I lose the people that just disappear for 2 months.
That's
So,
true. That's why I'm trying to keep it going every week, even if it's nothing. Like I'll just talk for a little bit. But
yeah,
good.
it's just say hi to your Uncle PJ. Give him a 5-minute podcast.
Hey, we can do that too, man. Check in
Yeah.
with Uncle PJ.
Yeah.
I'd love that.
So,
All right, man. Take care of yourself.
Yeah, good to see you. Take it easy.
I'll send you some snow in the mail.
All right.
All right,
Thanks.
buddy.
See ya.
See ya.
Bye.